This 34-year-old mother and part-time escort went missing in 2007. Nearly 5 years later, there was still no arrest in her disappearance, although police had a strong belief that Lester Ralph Jones was their man.
I didn't touch Paige. I did not kill her. I have not hurt her.
They had suspicious items at Jones's workplace. They had Paige's torch sedan across the street from his job. They had surveillance footage and phone records that showed Jones was the last one to contact Paige on a prepaid phone that no longer exists. Yet there was one key piece of evidence that left this convicted felon free.
Certainly, you can't bring this to a conclusion, a trial, what have you. The absence of the body certainly muddies that water.
In the spring of 2012, that muddy water finally gave up its secret. A hiker was exploring a dry creek bed 60 miles south of where searchers had found a trail of clues laid out like breadcrumbs. Paige's personal items such as checkbooks and clothing scattered along Highway 50.
A hiker in the Wells Gulch area just happened by a human skull, and when they unearthed it, it had duct tape that was sort of around the jawline area and around the back of the head.
A team of forensic examiners soon find more bones strewn across a mile stretch of the creek, and they quickly determine that they do indeed belong to Paige Birgfeld. Even after all this time, it's a devastating blow.
I would tell you without a doubt, a piece of me, I mean, in terms of my emotions, a piece of me is missing. Part of my life is gone.
There was no possibility of having her in my life again.
For prosecutor Dan Rubenstein, the crime scene paints a gruesome yet incomplete picture.
The reality is we don't know exactly how Paige died. What we do know is that she was kidnapped. And we know that because of the items that were strewn down Highway 50, and we know that because of the duct tape. You don't duct tape a person who's already deceased. And ultimately, through a mountain of circumstantial evidence, we're able to determine that Lester Jones was the only person who could have done it.
After years of not knowing, Paige's family was finally able to look at her accused killer in the eyes at his trial. But the jury was about to surprise everyone. In September of 2016, Jones catches another break. Believe it or not, it looks as if he may walk free again. It's a hung jury 9-3 in favor of guilt. But the dogged DA wasn't about to let this case go.
I think a lot of DAs with a less spunk and backbone would have said, you know, well, why don't we wait and see if some new evidence comes in and duck the case.
What made you so passionate about this?
Every life matters, and it bothered me the idea that people might think that because Paige had this double life that she didn't deserve justice.
Please rise for our jury.
In November of 2016, Rubenstein takes another shot. His first witness, Paige's daughter, Jess. Now 18, she was the child who left tearful pleas on her mother's voicemail 9 years earlier.
Sorry, Mom, you are really, really mean. You said you would be back when we were dark, and you haven't even been back yet.
When was the last time you saw your mom?
The last time I saw my mother was on June 28th, before she went to work. She said that she would be back around dinner time. My mom was a very kind lady. She did everything for her kids. We all slept in her bed in her bedroom because we just all loved to be around her.
And that was one of the low moments of the trial.
Jones's wife, a reluctant witness, gives key testimony about the night Paige's car was found on fire.
Did he leave at any point Sunday evening?
Yes, he did.
Did he tell you why he was leaving?
He had to turn off the lights. He thought he had maybe left them on at the shop where he worked.
Was it suspicious for you when he left that evening?
Yes.
Can you explain to the jury why that was suspicious to you?
I had suspected him of other women, and I thought he was going to meet someone else.
Another damning tidbit came from a recorded phone call between police and Lester Jones regarding his impounded vehicles.
One of the big surprises that came out of this investigation was a phone call that went from then Sergeant Art Smith, who was trying to return his vehicles to Mr. Jones, and he placed a simple phone call, and what Art was trying to figure out was, how do I get these vehicles to you?
If you need us to bring one to you or come and pick one of you up, we can do that for you.
I don't think so.
Mr. Jones, I'm not following you.
He asked me if I would bury a body.
I'm sorry?
You asked me where I could bury a body.
When did I ask you that?
The jury had a question at one point during their deliberations, and the question was, can we hear that phone call again?
And when the closing came, I thought there was no doubt that Lester Ralph Jones murdered my daughter.
And I've been informed by the bailiff that our jury has reached a verdict.
After 5 weeks, the moment Frank Birgfeld has been waiting 9.5 years for.
Jury verdict, count number 1, charge of murder in the first degree, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Lester Ralph Jones, guilty of count 1, murder in the first degree.
The sentencing is just as satisfying. Life in prison.
It was unbelievable elation that he was really going to take the blame for this and that we had an answer.
I'd say this is a life that God put on the earth that he absolutely wasted. And frankly, it would have been better if they had skipped his name when God decided who to place on earth. He has contributed nothing, and all he is a burden on society.
It really was, a case that took many, many years to put together.
The highlight of being around Paige was seeing how radiant she would be around her children. When I'm around her children, I feel this elation, but then it's like checked, because I realized she isn't here to appreciate it.
Jones can